Thursday, November 14th, market analysis, Stan Ehrlich. Sorry, I'm starting so late today. It's 10:40. Usually I start, give or take a little around 10 o'clock. I apologize. So I'm going to go fast. E-mini. I think I've been vindicated. We're starting to make new lows for the last 5, 6 days, depending upon the index. Getting out of overbought conditions. Looks like we're going to make new lows before the end of the day or tomorrow, Friday. Looking for a downside retracement at least to 59 and a quarter. More likely in the next week or so, 2 weeks, 57.27. Now, I'm not really bearish. This is a reactionary opinion, a downside move short term on a longer term bull market. I do expect that November could be an up month. We're already halfway through it and making minor new lows, but they're minor. And December also basically an up month. But starting on Friday, tomorrow, I'm going to detail the Santa Claus rally, time of day of entry, number of entries, which date entry, why to get in at those levels, how long to hold the trade, why we're going to be getting out on the first few days of January, at what time of day are we going to be getting out, and what method to use to maybe be able to make more money on the offset than the normal dictation of the strategy. Remember, the strategy is code. It tells you exactly what to do, when to do it, and you're not supposed to screw around with it because you believe in the history of the system, the strategy, or you wouldn't be using it, let's hope. Okay. E-mini coming down, 5-minute chart. You can see we made a little while ago new lows. We bounced, and it looks like we're starting to slip again. We're looking at the SPY. It's essentially the same story, except we got gaps to deal with down here. But my downside move is most favorably, my opinion, is 565 for the bottom of this move. I think is just starting now. Same thing for the SPY 1 minute, of course, 5 minute, of course. And we're looking at minor new lows for the last 5 days or so, 4 or 5 days on the QQQ. We did get a sell signal on the exact high day so far, November 11th. We are short an ER1 overnight. There's your green trade line, even at the current quote, which has bounced pretty good. And we are short the next day, a higher price, and we're still in the trade. There's your trade line. Well, come on, give me a handle, and up. There it goes for this little line, and it's doing great. Here is the detail for those two trades, exact same entry, exact same strategy. One scalp made a wee bit money, just a tiny bit, nothing to write home about. The overnight, we're still in the trade right now, right there, that quote. You can see it wiggling a little. ER3 overnight, still in the trade, but ER3 short was a whopper. ER3 scalp, I should mention, got out the same day, and as it started to move back up after the key reversal, after the rally that we wanted to get short for ER3. Great. So we have had so far two offsets, both profitable, and two open trade equities that are profitable at the moment. Now, granted, the stops are frankly a little too high. Probably should figure out how to lower those for the 1 overnight and the 3 overnight, which are both at this price and short at different levels. So we'll see what we come up with for maybe tomorrow. Next chart is the NASDAQ futures. Daily data, we are short. Same reason, same strategy, same technique, absolutely everything the same, except this is a futures contract and it's an index. I'm at, 23 hour a day market instead of, 6.5. Now, not much else to say. Here's the detail trade for ER3 overnight only and scalp. So that did very nicely. And we're also still holding the overnight. Great. I think it's going to do better by the end of the day. And this stop I have lowered, and you can see that's locking in a little bit of a profit for the 3 overnight at that level right there. So far, great. Now, we never got a signal in the YM Dow, unfortunately, but it is almost making those new lows for the last 5, 6 days. And I think it will. Very close to the low. Here's the 5-minute chart. Started to dig into those lows. kind of looks like the other charts, 5-minute charts I showed you this morning on the other indexes, which have already made lows lower than, November 7 and 8, basically. Next chart is the daily data on the Russell. It's leading the way down, dropping faster, quicker, better. And I'm good with that. I'm still looking for a move down to at least 2310, 2300. Maybe lower than that. Let's see if I can get there first. But I think it very possible it could get down to 2220. 5-minute chart, still dropping. Now I've got something brand new. This is Bitcoin. Intermediate to longer term, it looks fairly bullish. And when I mean fairly bullish, it could go up on a tremendous amount. I can't tell. We've got breakaway gaps to the upside, clearing on the same day a few days ago, which was 11/11/24, November 11th. That's your breakout day. The breakaway gaps are under the support line, so they may not get closed. If the gap was above the breakout line, then they'd be a little more likely to get closed. So downside correction could only be down to around 2, but I'm not ruling out 1.75 either. But I do like the way it looks. In general, I like the way it's acting. It just ran out of a little strength, got too overbought too quick. RSI got up to ridiculous 97, but, Bitcoin. You know what I mean by that? It's erratic. It's crazy. You got to have a little screw loose to be trading this. Ha, ha, ha. No offense, obviously. It's a new market. It's developing its own personalities. Next, bonds. I think a last shoulder low is forming. I think we're maybe developing a long-term bottom here. I'm proud to say that we did get a buy signal on the lowest low back on October of 23. Perfect. And now it's a year plus later, and there's no other lower low. Now, and we've had the higher highs only a couple of months ago, back in September. So if this is a turning point, it really doesn't look like it yet. So if I'm right, your risk factor is probably negligible. Probably shouldn't use that word, is relatively small. I just would love to see this darn thing rally above the highs of the last week or two. I'm going to say the exact same thing about 10-year notes. And we are still short 10-year notes from the sell signal at the top of the market, September 17th. Well, actually, that got short the day after on an ER3. Our ER1 got short, of course, on the signal day and made very good money. If I slowed the stop down and I waited for that high to occur past tense, I was going to run the risk that it wouldn't stop at that level. I know it did now, of course, 2020 hindsight. But what happens if it kept going up and up? Then I would be breaking even or even losing on a trade that I had a lot of profit in. That's a no-no. Don't let a nice profitable trade get to a loss. Don't do it. People do it. It's one of the fatal mistakes, which I will be talking about, by the way, tomorrow morning, 8:30 California time. I'm on Ninja Traders, one of their YouTube programs. I forgot what the name of the program was. I'm sorry. With the North American business manager, Ryan Krebs, who I've known now for a couple of years. Very nice guy. Pretty good trader, too. And one of his symbols that he wanted me to look at is at the end of this list today. It's a stock. It really has some long-term possibilities. You'll want to stay tuned or scoot forward if you want to the end of the video to see that. Okay. I think it's bottoming out. It did make a new low in notes. It's not staying there. We could get a bullish engulfment because we did get oversold today. This is a great setup for a reversal, but we're running out of time. It's 10:50 California time. Sorry about that 45-minute delay. I apologize again. So we'll see what happens. I'm looking for a turn, and I think today could be it. Crude oil. Not too much to say here. Support is trying to hold. It might make minor new lows into support and then get oversold, but not yet. And there's a slim chance that this could be a bottom yesterday, and it could start to rally some, but I just can't get anything strongly bullish or really very bearish to say. There's either way here. let's just wait a little bit. And I got to say about the same thing here for heating oil. So no particular comment, no new signals, no nothing. By the way, I got a brand new signal in soybeans today. Check that out in a few minutes. We have a new low and a low enough to stop me out of my natural gas trade. Now, yesterday I raised my stop. I changed the kicker for the stop. I had got stopped out back here at about 2.6. You can see that on my previous YouTubes. And I felt bad about that. So I'm cheating. I'm changing this past tense from the default to a slower moving stop, and therefore allowed it to rally up, because after all, yesterday it made a new high and a new high close, and I thought today was going to be a strong day. I was wrong, and it's now made lows lower than the last couple of days, and my new higher stop also got hit anyway, but I made more money, assuming, you started out with this particular kicker that moved the stop more slowly than I had before. Okay, so I'm flat one way or the other. This particular kicker did pretty good, and now I'm on the sidelines waiting. Sorry, natural gas. What about gold, silver, platinum? I think gold is about to turn around. Support seems to be holding, trying to desperately. Those are the two trend lines, not a zone in this case. Although I could probably put a little rectangle around that corner, upper left-hand corner high, right about there, and include all these tops and so on over to about here. So generally support. What about silver and turning around? I think we're got a bottom maybe in gold and silver. Oversold, also trying to turn around, starting to work its way back up again. I like what I see. We're in support area, oversold conditions, one of my favorite combinations. Looking better. Next, I've got platinum, same situation. Oversold, support, starting to turn up higher, looking for a reversal, but not quite a key reversal yet. If we are able to get above yesterday's high, I'll turn green and get an official buy signal. This last sell signal has worked great. It provided a beginning of a short for lots of people, excuse me, regardless of their trading style. You pick the high day, can't get too much better than that. Also, we picked a high day in copper. Sorry about that. Got a little cough. So the kicker in this case, I probably changed once. Too high, but I'm going to leave it alone for the moment. We test support. We're turning yellow on the RSI, turning bullish. I think this could be a turnaround also for copper. So all of the precious metals, including copper, look like they're trying to turn their way back up, whether I'm short or not at the moment. Okay, soybeans. Bearish, surprise, surprise, bearish engulfing. I was not expecting something bearish, but it qualifies. So I've got to say that we sold short ER1 scalp at about 1,000 exactly, give or take a penny, probably a penny higher. And now at 989, call it 990, we've got about a 10, 11, 12 cent profit, and it's doing very well. We're also short from exactly the same price the ER1 overnight, and looks like we're going to just simply hold it overnight with no problem. Now, for tomorrow and a few days, we're looking to come back up to about 1,000 again to get short for ER3 scalping overnight. So we'll see what happens with that. I don't get a lot of fills, maybe 50%, 60% with my ER3 triggers, but ER1 is always 100% in a scalp trade and or an overnight trade. Next, new lows for the move down in soybean oil. Not yet oversold, not yet in support. We're short from a sell signal on the top day. Doing fine. I'm a little suspicious it's about to turn back up again because of the oversold. Well, I'm sorry, because of the support area. And this is really a neckline, I thought, and I still have to say it looks like it should be. So that's where you're supposed to stop turning down, just like it did exactly several days ago for a rally in the new highs. But we got a sell signal on the high day. And down we go so far. This is going to be tricky. we don't hold that neckline and start closing inside of the support level, especially deeply, the head and shoulder pattern may be in the process of failing. Next, support, we're there right now, very oversold, 12, 11. That is extremely oversold, almost. I like to use the extreme when we're at 10 or lower, but that's super close. Not only that, ladies and gentlemen, we're at the lows that we had back in February and March. Profoundly important long-term support in a support zone also, and extremely oversold. This could be so close to the low tick, it could be shocking. What is my low tick here? 286, let's call it. 285.90 looks like. The low is actually, 285.90 to be exact. And where are we? 286.80? Oh, come on. We're almost right on top of it. That's not what I often tell people, that this looks like when you're $1 from the low or a few ticks from the bottom, a turning point. I got to say it though. This is exactly how it starts. I just don't see it starting. So I'm not long yet, but I know what to look for. Next, corn. Support area, not oversold, could turn around any old time. Bottom formation, well, maybe. I drew a neckline in. If it, it's a sloppy one, I don't like it very much. But I'm saying that maybe we've got this low here in early July, and that could be a shoulder. And then you're looking at the bottom of the market back here in August. And then another low at approximately, and I'll do this real quick for you. You measure the time frame from the shoulder to the head of the formation, and then you take that same number of days to the right, and we are a little late, but not too late, for the last low that's already happened past tense. So that looks about right for the timing for the last shoulder, so that's good. We broke the neckline classic. Wait a minute. We broke a major bear trend line a second time. That's not a neckline. Rallied up resistance, came down, no new lows, came all the way back up to the what's now the neckline, slightly upward slanted, stopped in an overbought condition at resistance, and we're pulling back some. That's a decent amount, but it doesn't kill the bigger pattern that started in July. I could even allow a dip down to, say, 412, 410. Getting below 410 would bother me a lot. So somewhere between here and 410, let's turn up. Then I'm going to be talking about a major longer-term bottom, maybe. The upside objective will be a minimum of 484 plus. Next chart. Wheat, oversold, testing previous profoundly important major lows, which is a support level. This also has earmarks of possibly being super close to the low tick. Today, now, very close, 529. We'll see what happens. Very oversold, 1413. Just the right condition for all of a sudden starts to climb, but it hasn't happened yet. Don't get long yet. But if you're short, I'd be watching this very closely. Cattle, almost new lows, was oversold, no particular symbol. It might dip off a little bit more and make new lows and come down one more step here on this ladder down. I can't say it's turning up yet. I'm going to wait. Miss Piggy, outside down day, normally would push prices lower. New low close, and we've made a new low, but not below the previous close. But that's better for being bearish. But it's not a big deal so far. I'm looking for a test of the bottom of support 77 and maybe even substantially lower. I can't rule out 70 to 68. And here is that Ryan's chart. We have almost a bigger picture. All the way back to 2017, December, well, let's call it the beginning of 2018, January 2018. 5 years. We had a low. Years later, we had a low right in the same ballpark, March of 20. We came down very close to that low last October. So 40 down to about 34, middle to high 30s, has held over a very long period of time. Major long-term historical support. Now we're dealing with the last 2 years of tops. And the market just poked its head right up against the highest high for the last 2 years approximately. It got there, but so quickly it got overbought. So I think this is a very large bottom over a 2-year period, maybe a shoulder, the head of the formation, but it's kind of lopsided. The first shoulder is either that low right there, which kind of works. I don't know. I have to look at this a little bit closer, but this looks like a fairly flat 40 up to 80. Well, that's not all that flat. If you do this, that doesn't look very flat. Head and shoulder bottom with a great upside objective of a minimum of 132. But that could just be the beginning. This market has already been as high as almost 300. Long-term major resistance doesn't even come into play until 190. So I'm not going to be very surprised if it gets in 6 months or a year up to 200. And it could do it a lot faster than that. This looks long-term, intermediate term, very bullish. Next few days or a week or so, because of the test of resistance and the minor failure at the moment and the overbought conditions, it could pull back a little bit, 77.5, maybe down to, I don't know, 70. And in the next couple of weeks, I think it's going to break out. I think it's going to close, and the close in the 90s does a trick for me. Thank you very much. What's happening to the E-mini in the last few minutes? Oh, we almost made a new low, and they're bouncing. You guys have a great day and profitable trading to you.